Pups, Vixie, I hope you're having a great day and hope it only gets better. Welcome to something a little bit different. I thought it might be kind of fun for me to go through the wonderful soundtrack of The Binding of Isaac, Rebirth, Repentance, Afterbirth, etc., and sort of give my ranking of each individual track. And of course, purely for time and just in case any weird copyright stuff happens to crop up, I should be able to use the Isaac soundtrack just fine in videos, but you never know with YouTube. Auto detect thing can get kind of silly sometimes, so we're just going to be safe, and I'm only going to have a snippet of the song in the actual video that goes up publicly on the main channel. And if you want to hear the full things, you can always subscribe to my Patreon for the full uncut version, which, just for the sake of what this video is, I'll go ahead and do the Patreon plug right now just to get it out of the way so we can get right to the awesome music of The Binding of Isaac Repentance. A huge shout out to all of my lovely patrons. I love you all very much. If you would like to support me and the channel, you can do so on Patreon for just $5 a month and you'll get a bunch of cool perks, such as work in progress art, whether it be for thumbnails or just something I have you working on, full resolution art, including for thumbnails, early access to my videos, and a special channel where I host all of my director's cut and uncut content for your viewing pleasure. And in this case, you'll also be able to listen to the full tracks of these songs from Isaac along with me. So if any of that strikes your fancy, make sure to head down to the link in the description and check out my Patreon. Once again, a huge shout out to all of my current patrons. Your support is very much appreciated and I love you all very much. And now let's move on to the video. So moving on, we are moving on to the boss alt theme, Cerebrum Dispersio. Okay, super good. Yeah, they took the original boss theme and they improved on it, which is great because the original boss theme was already awesome. I do really like that break. That break, like halfway through, like the main like progression to it, where it's just the piano going do 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 do. I love that. That's so cool. And then it just plays through back until like the transition in the middle. The fucking guitar just comes back in, just goes ape shit for it. Well, not ape shit, but it just fucking super good. I've never actually put together like when this plays over the other boss theme, but I usually picture Famine in my head when I hear this. Famine and the Haunt. So I wonder if it's just picked at random or if there is specific bosses that it plays this instead. Maybe on the Horseman, I don't know. Either way, it's super good. Wow. I want to give this an S. I love it. It's so awesome. I think the original boss fight theme was an A, so I feel like the improvement should be very comfortable at S. Next up, we have Cicatrix. Cicatrix? I don't know. It's some weird word. It's the Scarred Womb theme. Let's check it out. High hopes here because apparently I really like the womb theme, so let's find out. Okay, I'm going to have a very weird complaint, so I just need to bear with me here for a second. Is it strange that I think it sounds too much like music? So let me explain. Looking this as the alternate thing to the womb theme, right? Thinking about it like that. We are going from this very strange, peculiar experimental soundscape that eventually morphs into something resembling a song when, you know, the fight variation where the very slow, drawn-out drums come in. It was one of the things I loved about the womb theme. Looking at it as an alternative to that, where it kind of just sounds like a song, a weird song, yes, a very slow, still very experimental song, but it kind of just sounds like a song. It takes away from that experience just a little bit. I think it's good. Don't get me wrong. I think it's good. I do like it. I don't like it as much as the original womb theme, and I think that it's best isolated and not comparing to what it is quote unquote replacing. So I would say I'm gonna be fair and I'm gonna say a C+ because it's good. It's not quite what I would prefer for this scenario, which, come to think of it, did we hear Utero? Was Utero on here? Does Utero actually have a different soundtrack to Womb? It does, right? Oh yeah, okay, it's in Repentance. Okay, that explains it. I just looked ahead, and the Utero theme is not in Rebirth, it's not in Afterbirth or Afterbirth Plus, it's in Repentance. Okay, that explains it. We haven't gotten to Utero yet, so there's still a chance for a Womb alternative to be that same style of weird, experimental, but weirdly a bop as the Womb theme. But anyway, we'll get to that in a minute. Right now, we have to move on to Fundamentum, the Burning Basement theme, which I have a distinct memory that I hum along to fairly often when I play. So we'll see if it holds up. Ooh, yeah, it is so good. It's so good. I love that, like, the main chord progression of, like, da 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 da. It shows up just enough to be repetitive enough, there we go, to get stuck in your head, but spaced out enough that it doesn't get on your nerves. And then, of course, the fight variation when the fucking guitar comes in to accent everything. So you have the very, like, drawn out, like, imposing, scary thematics of the fucking Burning Basement theme mixed in with just fucking shredding the guitar in the background. It's awesome. It's so cool. I love it. I'm gonna give this an A+. So good. Which, come to think of it, I'm pretty sure all of, like, the basement alternatives I can think of, -1 because I just remembered it, I'm pretty sure they all slap. Like, all of the basement alternatives themes, they all slap. They're so good. All right, so this next one is interesting because I cannot think of a way to not, like, aside from how you would say it in Latin, so I'm just gonna go with the Latin pronunciation, and we're gonna roll with it. Cave Delui. This track is such a fucking vibe. It's so good. It is a stark contrast to how absolutely fucking trash garbage Flooded Caves is in game. Sort of like The Cellar, where it's just a fucking nightmare to play through. God, this song is so good. It is such a vibe. That is the only way I can describe it. It's slow, it's calm, just that little bit of guitar in the fight theme is awesome. I love it. This is an S. I love it so much. This is one of many tracks in all of these, out of all of these, that I will absolutely come back to and have come back to. It's so good. Genuinely so good. Next up, we have Nativitate. I don't know. Never seen that word before. It's the Blue Womb theme. So don't really hear this too often because usually you hang out for a couple seconds, you prepare for the Hush fight, and then you go fight Hush. But right now we're looking at the very, very short level before you go fight Hush. Holy shit. Oh my god. Edmund, look at me. Edmund, we need Blue Womb to be its entire own, like, separate level. Like, fuck just it being the area before Hush and then you're done. I want this to be an alternate stage to Womb that is just a full-out, straight-up level with, like, unique bosses and everything. Purely so you can listen to this full thing without just standing around doing another thing before Hush. This kicks ass. This goes hard as fuck. no idea this was so good, because I've mentioned this like 7 times now, but the only time you ever hear it is in the maybe 30 seconds of like where you're grabbing the golden chests, you're grabbing the 2 item rooms, you're looking at the shop right before you go to Hush, and then it's a different song entirely. That is a fucking crime. This is awesome. Holy shit. So this, Infanticide, and one other track we haven't gotten to yet, they've already paid for the $11 I spent on the fucking soundtrack. I'm already happy. Nativite is fucking awesome. It is a damned shame that you don't have an entire level to like listen to it as you're playing through the level, and it's just that starting room. Holy shit, this is S+ tier. This kicks ass. I love that. Oh my god. Okay, so now moving on, bringing the tone down just a little bit. I already know generally how I'm going to feel about this because I've fought Hush a fair amount of times, and obviously it takes a while for you to kill Hush. You get a good feel for how the song plays out. So we are moving on to Moritaros. There we go. The Hush boss fight theme. Yeah, that's about what I expected. So, funnily enough, much like the Hush fight itself, I feel like there's too much going on. I feel like the track itself is muddied by all of the different things happening in said track. You have the low-tuned guitar, which I mentioned I love, but instead of being a background accenting thing now, it is now front and center. It is the main thing, and because it's so low-tuned and now it's so much louder than it does in the other tracks it's shown up in, it just kind of drowns out basically everything else. Of course, you have the fast, addictive drums and everything, but you don't really notice them because there's so much other stuff going on, and frankly, it's just the mixing, I feel, on this track is probably what kills it. I feel like there's potential here. There's probably a bunch of stuff in there that I didn't notice. It's probably like, oh, that's a cool little detail. But the different volume, the mixing, the low-tuned guitar being so much louder than it is in other tracks and drowning everything else out, I just can't, it's not bad, it's okay. And that is the best I can say about it. It's okay. It is not something I will actively come back and listen to, but if it pops up, there is a not 0% chance that I'll actually listen to it and not bother skipping it. I'm gonna say it's C-, D+. It's fine. That's about all I can really say. Next up, we have Pulso Profundum, which is a fun word, the Dank Depths theme. Yeah, it's spooky. That's about it. It's better than the original Depths theme, I will say that. It doesn't fall into the same trap that Abyss did, where it's just kind of the same shit every 5 seconds, but it's not awesome. I found myself getting bored very quickly. It doesn't bring a whole lot to the table in terms of staying power. It is very much just ambient. It is in the background. You're not actively trying to listen to it sort of music, which, if that's what they're going for, awesome. It's not something I'm going to be coming back to. I'm going to say, was Abyss our F? We had an F in here somewhere. Oh no, F was Catacombs. Catacombs fucking sucked. So I think Abyss was like a D-. So seeing how this is Abyss, or this is Dank Depths, it is the better version of Depths in terms of music. We'll say D. I don't want to give it a D. I don't want to give it a D+. So it's just going to be a D. If I'm wrong, and Abyss was a D as well and not a D-, I'll still say D. I can't give this a D+. It's just kind of boring. Oh, speaking of D and F tier, we're looking at greed mode now, but I can't specifically remember if I like the song or not, but I can tell you that the game mode sucks absolute ass trash. So let's see if the Ultra Greed fight theme, Chorus Mortis, can improve upon that. So I think I have picked up on something I did not notice before that made me like this a little bit more. I do remember liking it now. It's just I associate it with greed mode, obviously, and greed mode is fucking garbage, so I just assume in the back of my mind this is probably garbage as well. Which it's not. It's actually really good. Because I just now noticed this is basically a remix of Genesis 2210. The main theme. It's basically a remix of it. So hold on, let me real quick go to like back up a little bit. That is the chord progression. That is Genesis. I'd never noticed that. And this, like, it's not just the main chord progression as well. It is the song. It's Genesis just remixed into like a boss fight. That's super cool. I didn't notice that before. It has that second part as well. That's so fucking cool. Okay, so for the second portion, instead of going up in register, it's going down into like a very spooky, like lower minor key. That's so fucking cool. Okay, I actually love this. Now that I've noticed that parallel of this being the main theme, but twisted and remixed, that's fucking sick. Oh, wow. The only thing I will ever rate positively of greed mode, this is going to be an S+. This is super fucking cool. I picked up on that like halfway into listening to this on its own. I never noticed it at any point when I was playing greed mode, probably because I was too pissed off to notice. Yeah, that's fucking dope. Chorus Mortis S+ tier. Super, super cool. But now we still have to look at Afterbirth Plus, and look at Terminus, which I believe is probably the Void. Okay, so this is cool because this is actually the first track that was actually like new to me. And it was actually the first time I ever heard it in the video I posted on my first ever Delirium run because I got to experience the Void for the first time. So you also got to experience my first exposure to this song. And it's dope. It's awesome. It's so good. Obviously, this is a much more obvious parallel to Genesis. It's basically front and center here. With the Chorus Mortis, it's twisted and changed enough that you kind of had to listen out for it. But here, it's the same chord progression. It's almost the same pacing. It's basically Genesis. And that's the whole point, because this is supposed to be like the ultimate ending to Isaac's story. I am of the opinion that the Delirium ending is the canon final ending of Isaac, and then the repentance stuff with the Beast is like a separate thing on its own. So it makes sense for the absolute last thing to end off Isaac's story is to call back to the very beginning, aka when you first booted up the game and you heard Genesis. I think that's super cool. And this track also on its own just kicks ass. So it's good. It's really good. This is going to be another S. Moving on to the boss fight of the Void, we have Delirium. Teleports behind you, nothing personnel, kid. So, Delirium. When I was recording that video of my first Delirium run, that didn't necessarily want to be my first Delirium run, but ended up that way, I wanted to lose my shit at how fucking cool that boss fight theme was, but I really couldn't because I kind of had a whole lot of other shit going on, so I will do that now. Holy fuck, this is awesome. It's so fucking cool. I love going to Delirium just so I can listen to the music. It's so good. Okay, so seeing how the next track, Sepulchrum, is just the audio that plays in the Delirium ending, it kind of isn't music, and it's a little bit disturbing if you don't like this sort of sound effect. And the fourth, Antiluchum, just seems to be a bonus track. I don't think actually appears in game anywhere. We're gonna go ahead and move on to the final disc, disc 4, with the Repentance soundtrack.